Good evening and welcome to the February 2013 Guthrie Historic Preservation Commission meeting. May we have I'd like to call it to order though. Could we have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Chairman Wood.
Present.
Chairman Guthrie.
Here.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Guthrie. Just gave you a promotion there. Commissioner Bowers.
I sit here real eagerly.
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
Commissioner Kyle. Commissioner Robbins.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Ms. Benito.
You're welcome.
On item 2, consent agenda, which would be approving the minutes of December 3rd, 2012. Has everybody had a chance to look those over? Any comments, corrections? If not,
Actually, are they in here?
I read them online. I don't see them in our packet
I
today.
didn't read them because they
Right,
weren't on
I
there.
read them online as well.
Yes.
That's here.
I saw no corrections or anything when I read them online, so I would have someone make a motion to approve the minutes.
A motion to approve.
And a second. You weren't here and neither,
Well, I will say them then, if you read them.
we read them.
Okay.
Okay, yes, we have a motion and a second. May we have a vote, please? Roll
Okay.
call.
Chairman Wood.
Yes.
Commissioner Guthrie.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Commissioner Brown
Yes.
and Commissioner Robbins.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Very good, thank you. Moving on to item 3, consideration of action of CA 20111-429 for new signage at 101 East Oklahoma Avenue. What we have is the background. The applicant, Boomerang Diner, wishes to display new signage on the building at 101 East Oklahoma. The proposed decal signs will be placed on the first floor windows of Oklahoma Avenue side, as well as Division Street side of the building. Additionally, 2 wall-mounted projecting signs will also be installed, one on each side of the building. Photos have been submitted. Is there any other background that we would need to know? Ms. Bennett.
Some of the things that you might be aware of in your packet is a drawing submitted by the applicant on the location of the signs that they wish to place. We have checked, and as requested, the amount of signage is under the 30%, so it doesn't go higher than the 30% of the glazing on there. Things for you to consider are the amount of signs there in terms of the general look. It is at the busiest corner of the intersection. The applicant is also requesting hanging signs that come off the second floor, and that may be something we need to talk with the applicant about. There is an item within the manual which does indicate that any projecting sign, projecting perpendicular off the front facade cannot be above the sill of the second floor window. So that's something that we need to consider. The applicant is here.
Okay. First off, I'd like to welcome you all to town and look forward to having a great hamburger once you all get open. We do have some issues, though, I feel, with the signage that we have on these historic buildings, and that is one of the main things is the cartoon figures that you have proposed. That is something that is really outside the guidelines of the historic preservation of what we can really allow to have go on here in town. In fact, I pulled up a picture of your original store in Muskogee, and it's a much more simple design as far as the hanging signs that would protrude from the building. I'm wondering, and also because of the nature of where we are in this historic town, that it's going to be difficult to, it's almost just, lack of a better say, it's too new, too modern for these old buildings. I'd like to hear what the other commissioners feel about the same thing, but according to, even with our design guidelines on page SG9. I'm not sure if you all received a book. Well, that's something that we need to get you, and so you can be familiar with the sign guidelines and things that we have here. But in the sign guidelines, SG9, under heading 4, design, and it would be design recommendations for signs, and heading F, new signs like the best Victorian early 20th century signs are to be artistic and designed to complement buildings, emphasizing quality, not quantity. That is one thing that we really try to do here in Guthrie. There's every individual building is a single case, so it's not one we can take and just say, well, just because they did it, there was circumstances at that point.
Sure. Well, if I may, can I just address a couple of those points?
Sure, sir. Please come up to the podium.
First and foremost, what I want to make very clear is that Boomerang is not a big corporation. It's not a big company. My dad actually started Boomerang, him and I in Muskogee. So it's not, that cartoon character is actually my dad. He's been cooking burgers for 55 years. So it's a replica of him, and that's what that is. I'll also preface with, I was a president of the Potawatomi County Historical Society several years back, so I respect what you guys are doing, and I hold that very true and dear. A lot of our locations are in historic downtowns. So I pride ourselves in what we do and what we can bring to downtowns. In Shawnee, for example, we're an anchor there because our downtown in Shawnee, frankly, isn't as good as Guthrie's. We struggle to try to bring that activity back. So I'm on your side on that, and I will work however I can to adjust that signage to make it work, but also trying to stay the continuity with our company and projecting what we project. If someone, we're in Van Buren, Arkansas, very historic downtown there, and we had to make some adjustments, but we were able to do that in a complementary fashion where we and I've already kind of, as much as I would love to have the neon in the windows, I understand your point in it. I try to stay true to what we are, and we are a 50s style diner, and neon was very prominent in 50s style diners, like the black and white checkered and so forth. So part of that downtown and the history we can complement by being that 50s style diner and not, we certainly aren't a big corporate,
It would be, I pulled up a picture of your original store and with the original marquee, and I see that even that you still have some elements of the original, the Boomerang with the
and we
the
do that all
graphics.
over. We have to kind of adapt to whatever building we're.
Do you happen to have any pictures of the Van Buren, since you had to make adaptations for that historic neighborhood? Do you have any pictures of their storefront or anything like
I
that?
can tell you it's exactly the same that it is in Shawnee and what I presented to you. Their particular thing that they hold true to are color schemes. So I had to change the red to a crimson, more of a maroon color to correspond with their color scheme. That's the primary change I had to make there was, and that's a little bit of a stretch for somebody who's trying to maintain a continuity in their image. It'd be like asking McDonald's to not use yellow. I mean, and I'm far from McDonald's, don't take that wrong, but we want people to be familiar with that logo and color.
Oh, look at you. Where'd you come from?
Was there anything in
me.
particular on there that you may have a question about that maybe I can clarify how it's applied or if it's obtrusive
I
or-
take it these are transfers. These are basically a vinyl transfer.
It is actually a piece of vinyl. It's the same vinyl they use in NASCARs for their
Sure.
vehicles.
I don't believe the signage itself, the type of sign, how it goes. I feel that as far as the window coverage and things like that, I think that was the main thing is the,
Yeah.
thank you. I feel that, at least in my respect, and what I'm reading in the guidelines and what we have here in Guthrie, even though I realize it's a rendition of your father, the cartoon-type characters, the male and female are just a little over the top for what we do here in Guthrie, and I'd like to hear some other commissioners respond to that also. As far as window signage, I personally don't have a problem with that. It falls within the guidelines of the size restrictions. The banners, I have a slight issue with the number of signage on every window. The banners, that I call them banners, the top and bottom, the red, I guess, is that correct what you would
A
describe?
banner's a good term for it. Yeah.
At the top and the bottom of the window, I am not as opposed to as, say, the actual field, what's in the field with the amount of signage that's going in there. Short of that, the amount of signage and the cartoon nature of the characters, I feel, is more what we're having an issue, or at least I see with the guidelines that we have
Sure.
here in Guthrie. Any comments there, please, commissioners, chime in.
Well, I kind of feel the same way, and we don't want to do anything to impede, you coming to our town
Sure.
because, we're thrilled.
Sure.
But being that this is like an anchor corner in our town, when I first got the packet and looked at it, well, I know that we have not allowed cartoonish type characters before. And although we'd like to just say, just do what you want to do, the reason that we're here is, to keep the integrity of our signs.
Sure.
And, I don't really know what to suggest to you in its place, but like Ed said, there's so much of it with so many windows, and being as it's there. Do you have any ideas how we could change this up?
No, ma'am, but I can certainly come up with an alternative. I can tell you in 41 locations that elven characters in every window in every downtown from Sapulpa to Tahlequah to Shawnee to every one of them. I don't have a problem bending on that. I respect
Yeah.
this commission's views on that, but understand to me, it is a character of what we are. What we're portraying there is good old-fashioned fun. They're fun characters. They're not,
They are. It is
Yeah.
fun. I think it's not that it's not fun and everything, and I think that what is happening here is it's a little too modern for Guthrie, being that we're really a late 19th or very early 20th century town. These type of characters are just a little too new. Even going into the 50s is even a little too new for Guthrie, and especially on these 19th century and very early 20th century buildings, putting that on there. As far as inside these characters and your whole logo and your corporate image, murals on the walls, anything inside the establishment, that's fine. That if that would help some to convey and to give some continuity with the other stores. As far as the signage on the outside, that we need to probably tone it down just a little bit, just so it matches more of the flavor of Guthrie and its antique architecture.
I understand.
And the two signs, one on each face, the hanging signs, that's fine too. You're on a corner, you get a sign on each main face of the building.
It would need to come down.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
The thing is, yes, it has to
that.
come down. I wouldn't get any, now I know that there's other signage on the building that has been, Simply Oklahoma. And if it was at the same level as that was an existing pole that has been there. I feel that, and we don't have a picture of that. It doesn't show, well, barely in the background. We may have to lower those signs a little bit.
Yeah, and
what
that's
it
just a
shows.
rendering. And I would, obviously, we'd have to get a sign permit, and I'm sure that the city would provide me with the legalities of what height that needs to be.
Yeah,
And
it has to, the bottom of your sign has to be at least 8 feet above the sidewalk.
oh, okay.
And
Okay.
externally lit, if you want it.
And we can communicate about that. Maybe if I can just get that information, that'd be great.
Okay.
That was just a rendering, so that sign can be moved however.
It was just something to give us an idea, and I understand that.
Sure.
And so it would fall within whatever the city ordinances and everything, and also what we actually have written here in our red book that we follow.
Right.
If you were thinking about lighting, they need to be externally lit, something shining on the sign and not from
Sure.
within the sign. I feel that would be something, if we could come up with something a little simpler than the cartoonish type characters. The colors, we try to fall within a color palette of the historic color palette that Ace Hardware has just down the block, and those are all the approved colors that we go with.
And do we have a true red in that palette, though?
I don't believe
I
there is a
think it'll go
true
more toward
red.
the maroon.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of like what you had to do with in another area, maybe move a little more to the maroon to just tone it down a little bit. I think that your reputation will precede you as far as the quality of food.
Sure.
People come there
It's
And
hard
no-
for me in my position, being the son of the man that started it, and when I preach to 41 other restaurants about continuity and staying true to what we do and standing firm to, if we walk into one place, it's gonna be the same service and the same great food and the same atmosphere that you have in another. It is a little disheartening,
Yeah.
I wanna be honest with you, to change those things.
Sure.
But I obviously want to be part of Guthrie and will do what I can to make that happen, so.
Okay.
Can I have you step in front of the mic
Yes.
so he can pick up
Yes.
all your words? Thank you.
Short of that, is there?
He'll yell at me over that.
I have a question. I know that there's pictures of Guthrie on top of these windows here. Is that part of the 30% or the?
Actually, I calculated it without the top windows.
Okay, so those would stay or they would have to go?
That would be up to you.
To be honest with you, I hadn't even decided. We were just talking about that. They're nice pieces of art. I would probably do something to clean them up because they're just kind of tacked in there. They're certainly not, they're not unattractive, but I think there's probably a cleaner way if we were to keep the Guthrie look up there. But I haven't decided if we wanted to keep those or not.
Okay.
I believe those were put up there, those are in the entresols that were put up by the owners of the building. And they've been there for, gosh, a number of years. So,
Right.
yeah, I would say that does not fall within, those would not be considered.
Okay.
Because that is an existing and has been existing. I imagine your roof or ceiling line does not go above that either, does that?
It is above it.
Oh, it is now,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
took out all the, I guess it wasn't at one time and you.
Well, the drop ceiling is, we haven't moved the drop ceiling, and it's above where those windows are.
Okay.
Yeah, that's way up there. It's 14-foot high ceiling, but
Didn't realize it was that tall. It's been a while since I've been in that
Yeah.
space. Any other comments from commissioners?
The color scheme, I think, just taking it down just a little bit so it's not so glaring to make it, just toning it down just a little bit. With the character, if I could offer a suggestion, on this front door rendering, you have just the boomerang and then you have the words. Maybe preserving your character on your front door, because that's your logo, and then just keeping the boomerang and the script on the other windows. So people walking into your front door see your logo, your icon image
Sure.
that you're creating, your
kind of
brand.
trading those out.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
and maybe that would help tone down the rest of these windows.
The
So-
signage in the windows, we're way over the maximum that we have from the book here with that. As far as just the script and the boomerang as your hanging signs is is that what you're?
Yeah, I
Yeah, more of the
think-
hanging signs than on the windows. So,
But I think, just to make sure I'm clear on it, you're saying that maybe removing the character and having just the text boomerang in place of the characters on the windows.
On the rest of the signs, and maybe having your character on the front door.
Right.
And that being his place.
Right.
His place of honor for you. And maybe that would help tone down everything else, and just keeping the boomerang and your script on the rest of the signs. And maybe that might help.
Okay.
thank you very much.
Is there a picture of the sign that we can actually, is there one there?
There's I believe we have a picture, and if I'm not mistaken, sir, this is the sign that you proposed for the hanging signs.
Actually, I don't even have the artwork done for the hanging sign. I haven't even approached the city as to what size or any of that. I simply put that on there because my intention is, to be honest with you, in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and Enid, Oklahoma, both places I'm very proud to be in downtown, I don't even have a hanging sign.
Okay.
We go off of strictly the visual from the windows. It kind of depends. I would love to have a sign, but I don't have a drawn sign. And I agree with Mrs. Brown that it would probably need to be just the boomerang on a white square background with kind of the iron look hanging down.
Yes.
And that's what I did in Sepulpa, which it kind of stayed continuity with the rest of the buildings downtown, which is what you have here, kind of that
Right.
hang down sign.
And I think with your boomerang image, the imagery that you're evoking there, I think a boomerang hanging from the side of the building would be very,
Yeah.
even if it was painted a maroon red, I think that would be very attractive.
Or possibly a cutout so that it's, or
I catch you.
a stencil,
Sure.
type of cutout of your logo that would be hanging, that would
Right.
be something, just to throw out a few
Sure.
off the top, kind
Yeah.
of just type of ideas. As far as the signage on the windows, again, back to that, the banners on the top and the bottom, we're having still an issue of the amount of signage in the field of the windows. What does the commission have anything to think about that? Because according to our signage, we're supposed to only have one main, basically the way it reads is there's only one main sign per building unless you're on a corner, and then you may have one on each face of that, and then your secondary signs, you would have also a main sign on your front door, and then secondary signage, which would be more or less advertising wares and things on the windows themselves. So,
Like your breakfast, lunch, dinner.
yeah, breakfast,
Reubens
lunch,
and-
dinner, Reubens, things like that. That's kind of what goes there as far as the names of the name of the establishment and everything like that on every window. It,
I think that there's probably only 2 windows that have boomerang on them. The rest of them should say breakfast anytime, real Reuben sandwich, chicken fried steak.
okay.
And there are the samples of what
Yes,
was looking at the actual.
we're looking at that. And I can't wait for breakfast anytime. Those are nice. So what is the pleasure of the commission?
I think that, I don't really have a problem with the banners on the top and the bottom. But the cartoon characters that are in the center of the window, I think.
I think we've all pretty well decided that the cartoonish characters on the windows and outside we won't be able to go with. Again, inside the building and inside in the establishment, it'll be fine. So if I'm reading this right, when we'll still approve, because we don't have a final of the hanging signs. We can revisit that when you have say, a better idea of what you would like to have. But we go ahead and say the banners, the red and white checkered banners on the top and the bottom of the windows around and tone that down again to a maroon in the
Okay.
color palette. Is that what, am I understanding that from the commission? Is that-
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I would like to interject.
Sure.
I'm going to need to do some renderings of that because I'm not 100% sure how well I'm going to like
Oh, I
changing
understand.
the
We'll-
primary colors of our very established and worked hard to get where we're at on this continuity thing. I certainly respect your opinion on it, but I'm going to have to, before I say, yeah, we'll just change all that to maroon.
Oh, no, I don't, I definitely want to we all want to work with you on this. I mean, we want you here and opened as quick as you can.
Well, I'm hoping so in about 3 weeks.
Okay. So, I mean, we want to work with it too. So we want to get you open and get this where
Sure.
everybody is on board and everybody's happy with the outcome.
Okay.
I mean,
If I can interject you
Yes.
for a moment. As soon as you get some renderings that you want to submit, if you would just bring them in to our office. If it's okay with you, Ed, I could call you and the 2 of us could take a look at it so that we get you open with signs,
Right.
yeah.
rather than having to wait a full.
Yeah, because
month.
honestly, at this point, I'm leaving town tomorrow or Wednesday for a week, and Stephanie is in charge of my graphics department. She's ready to go. So it's
Okay.
going to be a matter of me having to have her work the renderings and try to communicate as quickly as I can to where we can get them to you folks, because it'll take her a week or 10 days to get them prepared to install.
Okay.
So it is something that, if we don't want to delay the signage, we need to get it to you quickly.
Okay.
Then where do we proceed from here? If we're still going to wait for renderings and things like that on colors, do we want to, I hate saying the word table this until we know a little bit more, because that brings us out to next month. I'd like to go ahead and say something we approve of the way you're going about this, is just, we're not quite all on the same pages as.
Is there the color palette that you that you're referencing, is that something that we can put in the notes that it's approved as long as it falls within the color palette provided at X or Y? I'm not sure where that color palette is, but
Yeah, we've done that before.
Yes, we have.
Um,
And it goes to the discretion of the planning department here and Ms. Spinato of the colors and how that all works together. Some of that color palette is more meant to be just trim and not, say, field color,
right,
because it can be really very
Sure.
outlandish.
Yep.
Some of the historic colors are still even more so. And this all looks good. I like I like the idea of the way.
we actually shrunk that down in a lot of, especially in downtown areas. We even go wider with that bottom to give it that old
Yeah.
drug shop look, and that's the look that we're going after. But because of the nature of the windows in that particular building, we actually brought those down. I think they're 8 or 9 inches total
Yeah.
on the bottom, so.
Okay, yeah, because I was looking 16 inches.
But where I was headed with that thing a while ago is if we could have an approved palette, Stephanie could work from that to do the rendering, so we can kind of alleviate kind of going back and forth.
And there
Because
is-
we know what to work with, we can,
And there is an approved palette, and that we have available to you, and that way there won't be any,
Yeah.
oh, we can't do that, so.
right.
we'll be
I
able
would
to
rather
work
know what we have to work with, that way you guys can see it and go, yeah, that's thumbs up.
Dynamite, then, well,
So what we're working on improving is keeping the top and bottom banner things,
yes,
but just negating the cartoon
negating the
things from the window,
the cartoonish figures and
but allowing the boomerang
the
to be
boomerang,
on the front
boomerang on
door.
the front door.
Okay.
Do you have that, Renee?
Almost.
Almost.
So it's the removal of the caricatures, and everything else is okay.
Yes, pretty much,
Okay.
it's pretty much, and then we'll,
And we'll work on the
then we'll
colors.
make a final decision on the hanging signs once we have a rendering of how we go about that. So, really, pretty much everything other than the cartoonish type
Okay.
of,
Right, the 5 that are on the windows.
the 5 that are on the windows, yes.
Okay. What I have is adjust coloring to be more muted, I guess,
Within the color palette of,
within the color palette. The top and bottom banners are okay. The character showing the man is approved on the front door only.
yes, yes.
What about fonts? We usually talk about fonts. Are we okay?
Again, I think because it is a 50s, I feel the fonts will be fine.
Okay.
In my
Okay.
opinion, I think that and again, that fits within your 50s style. I
Right.
think that it is still acceptable in the deco 50s. I mean, we're starting to get close to being too new for our city, but I think that it's acceptable.
Good.
Any other, so fonts are good. In that case, I would entertain someone make a motion for approval with modifications.
I'll make the motion that we approve it with the modifications that we've discussed.
And I'll second it.
And we have a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Wood.
Yes.
Chairman Wood.
Yes.
Commissioner Bothroyd.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown
Yes.
and Commissioner Robbins.
Yes.
Very good. Oh, we look forward to it.
Well, we look forward to taking care of you.
Thank you. Thank you for
Believe me,
coming
we
by.
are all looking forward to
I am ready to get a real ribbon sandwich. I
Yes,
saw that
me
and my
too.
mouth started watering.
Right, if we can just go back and forth over the next few days, we'll do all we can to get this through as quickly as possible. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming by. Okay. Moving on to item 4, consideration of action on CA number 20111-437 for new signage at 112 North Division Street. And if I can get to that. I guess. The applicant wishes to display new signage on the building at 112 North Division Street. The application requests 2 metal signs will be placed on the shingled roof awning structure over the sidewalk, one on the north elevation alley side and one on the west elevation division sign. Additionally, a window sign is requested for the front window. Photos have been submitted for our approval. Sorry about that.
I think we recently approved this sign on another place.
Yes, that actually looks like it fits over the old Sadler
I
Cleaners
think so.
sign.
And we liked the sign then, I still like the sign today.
I agree. If, the way I understand, and the way if I may go ahead and just, what I understand, yeah, please, come up to the podium. That's okay. That, the main sign, the one that we had pre-approved that was going to go over the Sadler Cleaner sign would be
Right.
going on the shingled,
We're just gonna, probably just gonna screw it flat up to that.
flat onto
On
that.
demand, sir.
And then the other sign will go on the, say, the north face of that, of the protrusion.
Yes.
Is it going to be all one? I notice the way you have the Guthrie Real Estate, and then, of course, you've locked out everything else. You have your phone number. Is that going to be just, is that going to be a round sign and then separate numbers applied? Or how is that, how does that, what's that sign going to look like, actually?
Pretty much all one,
If I could,
Oh.
Yeah,
if
this
I could
one.
have you come to the microphone, please.
No, the actual, I guess, is it two, is it
no, it's just one piece.
Is it, is it just the other side of the Sadler Cleaner sign? I mean, you probably had two, each side made.
Well,
One
that probably
Right.
went up on the building, though.
one on the face, and then the other one's going to go on the north side? Or is it this round, this one that we have right here?
Does that go on the window?
I do believe that she submitted that portion for the window.
Okay,
And so, because she had mentioned before she had left that she was going to go with the round logo. And then, so I'm not for sure how she arranged that, if it's going to be two separate. I would think that's how she's intending, is that it's the oval and then the number would be a separate.
okay, well, okay, the window, front window, 1/3 of window. So, yeah, that's just an applied sign with the phone number. The sign, I guess I was not clear, I'm sorry. The sign that's going to go on the north face of the awning, what will it look like?
Identical to the one that's gonna go on the
This
front.
one.
Oh, it is, that's, okay, it is the other
Yeah.
one that goes there?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had two made for that old Battler, and we didn't use them, so we just gonna,
If I can ask, what are the dimensions of the one that would go on the north side?
That's what I wondered, if that was a big enough area for that large of a sign.
Yeah, she asked me for the dimensions and I provided those, so are they in the packet by chance?
I have a dimension set at 67 by 45.
Okay, that sounds
So
appropriate.
you're talking about 4 feet by 6.5? or
Well, and that's to the
5.5?
highest point, that's around the circle portion of the G at the top of the sign, correct. Mhm.
I take it that that sign will fit within that area you've measured, and it does fit, it doesn't overhang, or it sits inside that triangle type of,
go inside the triangle area.
and it probably has it actually,
So it's
symmetry
gonna have
with,
to fit way down here, though,
Yeah.
probably, to make it happen.
well,
Can't picture that sign being that 67 inches long.
that's funny, they are,
That's pretty big.
it's all deceptive when they're up high in
I
the air,
guess.
things get bigger, the closer you get to them, the farther away and to be seen, it's,
And on this, please be aware that the sign cannot protrude
Yes.
above any of the
Right.
mansard.
And if I put it up there, if anybody, I can always take it back down. Nobody, if it looks bad, and it doesn't look
Or it
appropriate.
cannot come down below the.
Yes, I know it
the-
won't come down below the awning part.
personally, I think it will,
May I make a
Yes,
few
please.
questions?
Yeah, no,
statements?
please.
Okay. Generally, in past, whenever there's been a sign to be placed on a mansard-style roof, that's not something that's been approved for a couple of reasons. One being that the roof of the mansard is providing protection from the elements and such.
Correct.
In applying this particular sign, and it looks like what you want to do is just install it
Screw it
flat.
right to that awning.
Need to, my concern would be that you would introduce holes and such that would have some problems and create leakage. And generally, the mansard roof is part of the element of the building and not a place for signage. Whenever there's been awnings before, and according to our red book that you've heard us reference, signage goes on the bottom trim piece of an awning, not on the body of the awning.
Well, my intention was to use rubber washers, but underneath the sign and above my screws, so it would seal it, is what I had in mind.
Gotcha. I would caution introducing a new element that we've not had before.
I was going to say, I've
And
not
we've
been
turned
here
that
before.
down
Yeah,
in times past.
we have turned on the sides of that down in times past.
Well, on the front.
On the actual,
Yes.
the actual and laying on that.
Yeah, the 45-degree angle part or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. Is there a,
Can you not fold that on that right there and just go up instead of laying flat?
That's what we're turning
it,
But you're
Say-
talking not laying.
just
flat,
laying it
you're
flat,
Turning down, right?
That's what he's asking for.
just to lay it flat, but we've turned down, or in the past, it
We've
was,
turned down
it was
if it goes at an angle, somebody putting it
a bracket,
up
putting,
vertically.
putting a bracket to hold it up vertically
Right.
on that, and that, well, this isn't that, I don't believe this is that case, I think we're just
Yeah, I
laying it
think he's got that with,
on laying flat on the roof. I feel that that's going to be acceptable, I don't really, unless,
it's up to you.
I was aware of what you're talking about, making holes in that awning and then causing it to leak. But I talked to the gentleman that owns the building, and I didn't tell him how, but I wanted to seal it, so there would be no water get through those screw holes.
Yeah, should the sign need to come down at some point in time, then does that do in terms of
Right, then you'll have those
the
holes.
integrity of the mansard?
Mhm.
I don't know. The owner has given his permission?
He has given us permission, he told me I could put it up there.
That's Mr. Sinan?
Do what?
Is that Mr. Sinan?
I guess.
Okay.
Yes,
Perhaps
it
we
is.
should talk to him.
Probably just to make double sure, so do we want to hold off on the signage on the front? I don't feel there will be probably a problem on the north face.
No, nor do I.
But then because it is on a slope and because we will be doing a problem, that probably is the best course of action for us to take, just to be on the safe side.
Sure.
And we get his opinion of this, of how he feels too about
Okay.
that. If that's okay with you,
Sure.
then unless there's any other comments or questions from the commission, I feel that we will make a motion to approve the sign mounted to the north face of the overhang awning, but we will hold off on giving approval on the flat-mounted space on
And
the
then
roof part.
We'll approve the window sign they have on here,
And
one-third of
approve
the window, so.
And, yeah, approve the window signage on one-third of the window.
Okay.
So that would work just fantastic. Could I entertain a motion for approval as amended?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
And a second. Could you please find out how we feel, Ms. Smith?
As soon as I find the right paper.
Fine, right?
Okay, Commissioner Wood, or
Ye-
Chairman Wood. there you
Yes,
go.
thank you.
Well, I'll get it straight,
That's
probably around 8 o'clock. Commissioner Bothroyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
and Commissioner Robbins.
Yes.
Well, dynamite, at least we
All
got
right.
part of it up there, and we'll find out from
All right.
Mr. Simon how he feels and how we can go about getting that other sign, and
Okay.
if that would,
All right,
can do that.
thank you all very much.
well, thank you.
So we will hold approval for the west sign
The west.
until we get further information.
Yes. Moving on to item 5, new business. Do we have any new business?
An item not directly related to this, but something that you all may be want to be aware of. The City of Guthrie and the Chamber of Commerce is going to be holding a press conference tomorrow at 3:30. You may want to pay attention to that, and we will discuss further details tomorrow night at the City Council meeting about the press conference. It's very exciting, very happy, wonderful, a new event. And I will leave it at that.
Very
So
well.
watch City Council tomorrow night.
Yes,
So-
my sister went to Rotary today, and she said, find out what's happening. They talked about it at Rotary. So. Lips are sealed, huh?
Lips are sealed until
Oh, boy.
tomorrow at 3:30.
Oh,
So we're
boy.
building momentum.
So we have the teaser. We all must watch tomorrow. That's,
Oh, yeah, right.
and that's all there is in new business. Well, be good. On to number 6, reports, comments from staff.
I think we're fine.
We're
I
fine
don't
from
have
new
any
business.
else. Yeah, just been working on the thing for tomorrow.
Very good.
We're not
Look-
going to let her out of here till she
No.
gives us a
well,
hint.
Yeah, once we're, comments from commissioners. Any comments today from anybody? I'd like to make a comment. Thank you for all showing up tonight. I think it's difficult when we have, a new business coming into town and they have a certain look, but we have to maintain
Yes.
our look too. So I feel.
And we
that
would love to approve everybody and everything, but then it opens us up for, what
Maybe.
comes about tomorrow.
And,
And that's an item to remember as we make decisions on these signs. We want businesses to be wildly successful.
Yes.
Will those signs still be there in 10 or 20 years as a successful business? Can we live with those things that length of time? So,
as a city and as the people, because,
Right.
I understand we cannot make everybody happy on
Right.
every occasion, but
Yeah.
we definitely want to try to keep it contained to our historic nature. Completing the comments, item 7, I would make a motion for us to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
And so moved, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.